Welcome to School of the Lost Tribes Radio, where the word speaks not to the world, but to the lost sheep of the house of Israel. Clarity helps generate the lessons needed to seal the chosen before the destruction. Wisdom of Solomon 2 and verse 1. For the ungodly said, reasoning with themselves, but not aright, our life is short and tedious, and in the death of a man there is no remedy. Neither was there any man known to have returned from the grave. The ungodly here are those who have no faith in Yahawah's covenant promises, both the wicked of Israel and the heathen mindset that our people often imitate. Their thinking is carnal and limited to this present life. They see life as short, painful, and hopeless, with no expectation of resurrection. This stands in direct opposition to the promises Yahawah made to Israel about raising them up, restoring them, and giving them the kingdom in the end through Yahawah Shai. Scattered Israelites who think like this have taken on the mindset of unbelievers and have forgotten the covenant hope of resurrection and restoration. Verse 2. For we are born at all adventure, and we shall be hereafter as though we had never been. For the breath in our nostrils is as smoke, and a little spark in the moving of our heart. This is still the ungodly reasoning. They see their own existence as random, at all adventure, as if Yahawah did not ordain Israel to be a chosen people with a set destiny. They treat life like a brief accident, not a covenant story. For Israel, this is a denial of Yahawah's election. He chose Abraham's seed on purpose, not by chance. The ungodly mindset cannot see beyond the temporary smoke of this life, so it ignores the promises of an everlasting kingdom prepared for Israel under Yahawah Shai. Verse 3. Which being extinguished, our body shall be turned into ashes, and our spirit shall vanish as the soft air. Here the ungodly deny any meaningful afterlife or judgment. They believe that once the heart stops, everything is over. No accountability, no resurrection, no kingdom. For Israel, this is spiritual blindness, because the covenants clearly contain promises of future restoration, resurrection, and a renewed relationship with Yahawah. The scattered Israelites who adopt this thinking are rejecting their own inheritance, acting as if Yahawah's word about raising up his people is void. Verse 4. And our name shall be forgotten in time, and no man shall have our works in remembrance, and our life shall pass away as the trace of a cloud, and shall be dispersed as a mist that is driven away with the beams of the sun, and overcome with the heat thereof. The ungodly believe that their name and actions will disappear forever. But Yahawah promised to remember his covenant with Israel, and to write their names in the book of life. The wicked attitude here is hopeless and faithless, assuming there is no lasting remembrance from Yahawah. For Israel, this is false, because Yahawah keeps record of the righteous among his people, and will reward them in the kingdom. The scattered Israelites must reject this hopeless view, and remember that Yahawah's covenant causes the righteous name to be remembered, not erased. Verse 5. For our time is a very shadow that passeth away, and after our end there is no returning, for it is fast sealed, so that no man cometh again. Again, this is the voice of unbelief. They see life as a passing shadow with no return, denying the resurrection. But Yahawah promised Israel a future raising up, and Yahawah Shai is the first fruits of that resurrection for the nation. When Israelites believe there is no returning, they have forgotten that Yahawah promised to bring back his people from the grave, from captivity, and from among all nations. This verse reflects the ungodly philosophy that clashes with Israel's covenant hope. Verse 6. Come on, therefore, let us enjoy the good things that are present, and let us speedily use the creatures like as in youth. Because they see no future judgment or kingdom, the ungodly conclude that the only thing that matters is enjoying present pleasures. This is the eat, drink, and be merry mindset. Among Israel, this shows up when our people chase worldly gain, pleasure, and lusts, ignoring the commandments and the promises. It's a direct rejection of living as Yahawah's covenant people, who are called to discipline and obedience now, looking for the kingdom to come under Yahawah Shai. Verse 7. Let us fill ourselves with costly wine and ointments, and let no flower of the spring pass by us. Their focus is on luxury and sensual delight, costly wine, perfumes, and the fleeting pleasures of this life. For Israel, chasing costly things while ignoring covenant obedience is a sign we've adopted the mentality of the nations. The ungodly make this their portion because they do not believe in Yahawah's promised portion, the land, the kingdom, and everlasting blessings for Israel. Scattered Israelites are being warned not to live for temporary comfort while neglecting the eternal inheritance. Verse 8. Let us crown ourselves with rosebuds before they be withered. This continues the live for now philosophy. Make the most of pleasures before they fade. Spiritually, this is the opposite of what Yahawah calls Israel to do. Yahawah promises a crown of glory for the faithful of Israel, but the ungodly prefer a crown of temporary flowers. For the scattered tribes, this is a contrast. Will we seek the temporary crown of this world, or the everlasting crown in the kingdom with Yahawah Shai? Verse 9. Let none of us go without his part of our voluptuousness. Let us leave tokens of our joyfulness in every place, for this is our portion, and our lot is this. Here the ungodly openly confess that they see pleasure as their only portion and lot. For Israel, Yahawah himself is our portion, and the land and kingdom are our lot by covenant. When Israelites adopt this philosophy, they exchange their holy inheritance for cheap temporary pleasures. The scattered Israelites must recognize that our true portion is not voluptuousness, but the promises given to Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob fulfilled through Yahawah Shai. Verse 10. Let us oppress the poor righteous man. Let us not spare the widow, nor reverence the ancient gray hairs of the aged. Once the ungodly embrace a pleasure-only mindset, they lose all care for righteousness and mercy. They oppress the poor righteous man, which often includes the faithful among Israel who keep the commandments in humility. They disregard widows and elders, directly violating the law Yahawah gave Israel to defend the fatherless, widows, and honor the aged. This verse exposes how abandoning covenant faith leads to oppression within the nation. It's a warning to Israel that wicked Israelites and heathens ruling over Israel will crush the righteous when they operate in this ungodly spirit. Verse 11. Let our strength be the law of justice, for that which is feeble is found to be nothing worth. The ungodly redefine justice according to power. Might makes right. This is not the law of Yahawah, this is the law of the flesh. For Israel, true justice comes from Yahawah's Torah, not from whoever is strongest. But wicked rulers, whether Israelites in power or heathen oppressors, often act as if their strength is the standard. This mentality directly opposes the covenant, where Yahawah defends the weak and judges the oppressor. The scattered Israelites must discern this spirit and not mistake worldly power for true righteousness. Verse 12. Therefore let us lie in wait for the righteous, because he is not for our turn, and he is clean contrary to our doings. He upbraideth us with our offending the law, and objecteth to our infamy, the transgressings of our education. Now the ungodly turn their hatred toward the righteous. This has a double application. First, it speaks of the righteous remnant in Israel who keep the law and rebuke sin. Second, it prophetically points to Yahawah Shai, the perfectly righteous one of Israel. The wicked say the righteous man is not for our turn, meaning he doesn't fit their agenda. He reproves them for breaking Yahawah's law and exposes how far they've fallen from the covenant training Israel originally received. For scattered Israelites, this shows why the righteous are persecuted. They remind the nation of the covenant it has forsaken. Verse 13. He professeth to have the knowledge of God, and he calleth himself the child of the Lord. Again, in a prophetic sense, this points strongly to Yahawah Shai, who openly declared his relationship with the Father and his knowledge of Yahawah's will for Israel. But it also applies to faithful Israelites who walk as sons and daughters of Yahawah according to the covenant. The ungodly mock this claim, because they themselves do not accept Yahawah's true knowledge. For the scattered tribes, this verse shows that claiming to be a child of Yahawah, as the scriptures say Israel is, will bring opposition from those who want to continue in sin and unbelief. Verse 14. He was made to reprove our thoughts. This reveals part of Yahawah's purpose for sending righteous men, and ultimately Yahawah Shai, among Israel, to reprove their thoughts, not just their outward actions. Yahawah Shai especially exposed the inner hypocrisy and unbelief of the rulers in Israel. For the dispersed Israelites today, Yahawah's word and spirit still function this way, correcting our inner mindset and bringing our thoughts back under covenant obedience. The ungodly resent this, but for the elect of Israel, this reproof is mercy. Verse 15. He is grievous unto us even to behold, for his life is not like other men's, his ways are of another fashion. The wicked find the righteous man burdensome just to look at, because his very lifestyle convicts them. His life is different, set apart by Yahawah. This perfectly describes Yahawah Shai among Israel, whose walk was without sin, fully aligned with the Father's will. It also describes the remnant of Israel who keep the commandments and faith in Yahawah Shai in a world that loves wickedness. For scattered Israelites, this explains why, when you truly live by the covenant, your own people and the nations may find you grievous and strange. Verse 16. We are esteemed of him as counterfeits. He abstaineth from our ways as from filthiness. He pronounceth the end of the just to be blessed, and maketh his boast that God is his Father. The ungodly admit that the righteous see them as counterfeits, false, hypocritical, pretending righteousness, but rejecting Yahawah's ways. The righteous abstain from their ways as from filth, recognizing that their lifestyle is unclean. He also declares that the end of the just is blessed, and boldly claims Yahawah as his Father. This is exactly what Yahawah Shai did concerning Israel's future, proclaiming blessing for the faithful and judgment for the wicked, and what faithful Israelites do when they teach the kingdom promises. For the scattered tribes, this shows that declaring Yahawah as our Father and expecting blessing in the end is part of the true faith, even if the ungodly hate it. Verse 17. Let us see if his words be true, and let us prove what shall happen in the end of him. The ungodly decide to test the righteous man by persecuting him, thinking they can disprove his faith by what happens to him. This was fulfilled in Yahawah Shai, whom the wicked in Israel delivered up to suffering and death, thinking this would show he was not truly the Son of Yahawah. But Yahawah used that very suffering and resurrection to confirm him. For Israel, the same pattern often happens. Righteous Israelites are tested and persecuted, but Yahawah will justify them in the end, especially in the day when he raises them and grants the kingdom. Verse 18. For if the just man be the Son of God, he will help him, and deliver him from the hand of his enemies. This verse echoes what was mocked at Yahawah Shai's crucifixion. If thou be the Son of God, come down. The wicked expect instant deliverance as proof of sonship. But Yahawah allowed Yahawah Shai to suffer first, then be delivered through resurrection. For Israel, this teaches that sonship does not always mean immediate rescue. Sometimes Yahawah allows his sons to suffer now and be vindicated later. Yet the principle is true. Yahawah will ultimately help and deliver his sons, the elect of Israel, from their enemies, especially at the return of Yahawah Shai. Verse 19. Let us examine him with despitefulness and torture, that we may know his meekness and prove his patience. The ungodly want to test the righteous man through cruelty and suffering to see if his meekness and patience are real. This again points to Yahawah Shai's sufferings. He responded to mockery, beating, and death with meekness and obedience to the Father. For the scattered Israelites, persecution and hardship often serve the same purpose, to prove the genuineness of our faith. The wicked think they are destroying us, but Yahawah is actually refining his elect among Israel, preparing them for the kingdom. Verse 20. Let us condemn him with a shameful death, for by his own saying he shall be respected. They aim for a shameful death to destroy his reputation. This is exactly what was attempted against Yahawah. Crucifixion was a humiliating execution, yet Yahawah turned that shame into honor, exalting him and making him the central hope of Israel's salvation. For Israel, this shows that the world may try to shame and condemn the righteous, but Yahawah will reverse it. In the kingdom, those who died in faith will be respected and honored, while the ungodly will be ashamed. Verse 21. Such things they did imagine, and were deceived, for their own wickedness hath blinded them. All the plans against the righteous came from their own deceived minds. Their hatred and wickedness blinded them to who they were really attacking, Yahawah's chosen ones, and ultimately Yahawah himself. For Israel, this warns that wickedness blinds. When our people reject the covenant and walk in sin, they can end up fighting against Yahawah's own work and servants. Scattered Israelites must understand that repentance is the only way to have clear sight of Yahawah's purposes. Verse 22. As for the mysteries of God, they knew them not. Neither hoped they for the wages of righteousness, nor discerned a reward for blameless souls. The ungodly do not understand the mysteries of Yahawah, his hidden plan to raise up Israel, to send Yahawah to restore the kingdom and to reward the righteous. Because they don't know these mysteries, they have no hope in the wages of righteousness or the reward for blameless souls. For Israel, this means that those who reject Yahawah's wisdom and his Son are cut off from understanding their own national destiny. The scattered Israelites who return to Yahawah and Yahawah are being brought back into these mysteries, the true hope of Israel. Verse 23. For God created man to be immortal, and made him to be an image of his own eternity. This man is best understood in covenant context as Israel's intended destiny. Yahawah chose a people to reflect his glory and to share in his eternal purpose. While this can apply to mankind in general at the beginning, the specific revealed plan of immortality is tied to Israel's covenants, resurrection, eternal life, and kingdom rulership under Yahawah. Yahawah did not create Israel to perish in sin and captivity, but to be restored and made immortal, bearing his image in righteousness forever. Verse 24. Nevertheless, through envy of the devil came death into the world, and they that do hold of his side do find it. Death entered through the envy and deceit of the devil, and those who align with his side experience that death. For Israel, this means that when we follow the serpent's path, rebellion, unbelief, sin, we partake in the death he brought. But Yahawah's plan, through Yahawah is to destroy the devil's works and reverse that death for his people. The scattered Israelites are being called to reject the devil's way and cling to the covenant way, so that instead of death, they may find the immortality and kingdom that Yahawah promised to Israel from the beginning.